Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Straight Paths Calls with Valinda Fultz and Brian Shields. So today we're going to go over the strategic relationships path, and this video is going to be recorded and put on YouTube. So it's going to be there for everyone's listening in the future. And today we want to welcome a guest visitor. We have David Davis, who is visiting us, who's going to be presenting this path today. I know he was previously a division director, so let's give him a warm welcome with the strategic relationships paths. Take it away, David.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to District 30 and all the distinguished guests. I'm glad to be here tonight. Even as we're here, it's most people were saying, what is the strategic relationships path? And how do I navigate through it? And that's been one of the most asked questions, actually, throughout Toastmasters International. Now that we're in this new system, how do we operate through it? So if you can go to the next slide. As introduced by Brian, this year I'm currently serving as our recognitions manager for District 36. And last year I was the Division D director within District 36. And therefore I had an opportunity to visit approximately 22 out of the 29 different clubs that I was managing and have conversations with each one of those officers to find out what are some of the hurdles that you're dealing with when it comes to strategic relationships pathways program, but overall, any pathways program. And you would be surprised by some of the answers. They were very sensitive in point, but it was interesting to hear the club presidents, just like yourself, Mushan, that they were saying they're concerned for their people and they're hoping that their people don't get lost within the program because many of them are not familiar with how to navigate the Pathways program. Therefore, one of the things that we've been encouraging each club to do is have mentors. Because what a mentor will do is exactly what we're doing right here. We'll create a Zoom meeting, meet face to face, share our screen, and say, okay, I'm going to keep my hands off the mouse, but this is what I would like you to do. Listen to my voice. Let's log into Toastmasters International, select Pathways. Now it's going to take us to your base camp program. Now let's open your program and see what's going on. Now, as you're clicking, I'm taking in consideration the fact that most people are not just visual learners, they like to be interactive. So they learn by clicking. And once they get familiar with the clicking and understand what should happen, then they become more and more comfortable with the system. Therefore, what we've been able to do, specifically within our club, we have approximately 29 people on our roster, and we have 9 mentors that have reached level 4, level 5s that are mentoring 1 to 2 other people. And we're doing exactly what we're doing here now. Everybody share your screen, make sure that the mentee knows how to sign up for club roles, but make sure and ensure and really ensure that the mentee understands how to navigate their pathway system. And what we've discovered is that as some members have come into our club, even from other clubs, we then perform an educational audit. I was surprised to learn just approximately 30 days ago, Toastmasters stated that they created a form called the Pathways Achievement Program Chart, and it has 30 lines on it. In each of these lines is designed for the name of each one of your club members. Then there's sections level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. And then there's a little checkbox that says, has the member completed the Pathways Mentor Program? By performing these audits, we found out that some of the members have been giving great speeches for the past 2 years, but just never knew how to enter the information into their Pathways program. So now what our mentors are doing is sitting there watching them, okay, let's enter your icebreaker. Let's answer the pre-assessment questions and the post-assessment questions. Okay, your icebreaker is complete. Now the button has switched to evaluate. Toastmasters would like you to evaluate this level, this particular project, the icebreaker. Perfect, that's done. Let's go to evaluation and feedback. Okay, so now we completed the evaluation and feedback. We answered the pre-assessment questions, and then we answer the assessment questions after the project is done. And now, like clockwork, evaluate this module, evaluate this project. Toastmasters wants them to answer the questions. And then we answer the questions together. Throughout the whole mentoring session, I never touched my keyboard. Now, this is where we really see Toastmasters International come to life, because now the power is in your voice. When we say to the mentee or the protege, okay, go to the left part of your screen, and at the top in the search bar, what you want to type is Toastmasters International Basecamp. This is what you're looking for. So now the mentee, what we're doing is we're training them to listen to our voice and then matching it up with what they see on the screen. So now, this is how I've been able to successfully get through the strategic relationships program. And it's funny, people are like, well, what is everything that you had to say how is it related to strategic relationships? Well, because one of the things that I do with my mentee, I share with them, this is what I'm doing next. And for everybody who started the year on July 1st, we challenged them to do 15 speeches. If they joined in August, we prorated it, just like Toastmasters International. We encouraged them to do 10 speeches. Some people say, well, we only meet once a month. Well, that's no problem. But this is how the challenge worked. When we contacted Toastmasters, Toastmasters International stated that in previous years, most clubs only allowed you to speak twice outside of a club. But they've lifted that restriction, and they've even created a portal where you can now speak as many times out of the club that you would like, as long as the VPE or Vice President of Education approves your request. Therefore, we had individuals who were speaking at their churches, individuals who were speaking at community groups, sororities, fraternities. And then we had Toastmasters attend those events, evaluate them, and help them put the credit back in to their Pathways program. What Toastmasters International now has done is when you hit submit, they can actually look at the description of what the individual did within that pathway for that particular project, and they are learning from it so that they can create future modules and future projects for future Pathways programs, which is another reason why they've lifted the restriction. So now, even a club that only meets 12 times a year, the individual still has the ability to speak 12 times or 24 times within 1 year to help them build that confidence level up of how to navigate through Pathways. So for me, strategic relationships was my path. And I'll share a little bit of information, and just let me know when my time is up, and we'll go into something else, and someone will sing a song, I'm not sure, but this is a great opportunity. So Valinda, if you mind going to the first slide we have here. And then what I'll do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the slide and about the path, and then I'm going to open it up for some Q&A, unless Brian or Valinda has some additional items for everyone attending this meeting today. But Toastmasters International states that this particular path is it's going to build your skills as a leader in communication. It's also going to help you focus on understanding diversity. It's also designed to develop a public relations strategy get you comfortable with dealing with the public in different situations, not only in Toastmasters, but in your job, also in your volunteer organizations. And then communicating well interpersonally. I know they say interpersonally, but just being able to feel like that you can be yourself, no matter who you are. If you're a humorous person, make jokes, but be yourself and learn to connect with people individually and as a group. So this will help you become better as a public speaker. And then last, apply your skills as a leader in any organization. Yes, we focus on volunteer organizations, but you have a job that where sometimes in your job, if we communicate it better, do you know we can go a little bit higher than we were last year or the year before? Because they'll see our personality shining through in our confidence that we've learned through Toastmasters International. Next slide. So level one, the icebreaker. I've been asked this question quite a few times. I did an icebreaker at the last meeting 6 months ago. Do I have to give another icebreaker every time I start a new path? Now, I want to be really humble with my answers, so I normally think and meditate and close my eyes sometimes to let them know, oh, he's really thinking about this particular question because this is a difficult question. But I thought about it and I said, okay, let me call Toastmasters International and get their perspective. Toastmasters International's perspective was every time you start a new job, you have to introduce yourself to the people that you're going to be working with. Even if you're at the same company and you switch departments, many times they ask you to introduce yourself and tell people what you're going to be doing. Then you take over a new program and you have people on your team. So you're a team lead. So now they ask you to introduce yourself and say, what are your plans for the team? So Toastmasters states that they expect us to do anywhere from 20 to 50 different icebreakers throughout the course of our year, or excuse me, throughout the course of our lifetime. Because as we're shifting jobs and shifting events, we have to continue introducing ourselves. So if we learn how to break the ice, quote, the icebreaker, then it becomes a little bit easy to help lead the people along the path that they need to go. And we become better as leaders. The second level or the second project in the strategic relationships, excuse me, was evaluation and feedback. Now, when you look at this particular structure, you say 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 projects. That is incorrect. There's not only 3 projects, there's actually 5 projects or tasks that need to be done. Because under 2A, the member must deliver a speech on any topic of their choice. One of the reasons why Toastmasters said any topic of your choice and not a specific topic, because they were hoping that we as Toastmasters would choose something or a topic that we're very comfortable with. So we can see, how do you present when you're talking about your favorite hobby, Mushan? What is your energy levels like? Are you calm and relaxed? Do you hesitate or you speak with confidence? So we're baselining you in the project, as in the term used in the project management field. We're trying to find out, where are you as a speaker? Once you have given that first speech in 2A, then you come back and take the feedback from 2A and you deliver your second speech in 2B. So this is a great opportunity because now you can say, okay, they told me that I need to increase the use of my hands. But if I'm sitting too close to my screen, what do I do? Therefore, this is normally where we recommend that most people move 1 to 2 feet back or move to the side. So if you wanted to use your hands, you have the other side of the screen to talk, and you can show people what you mean when you talk about going from level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Or when you welcome people, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate you being here. The last item, 2C, is for the new member to serve as a speech evaluator for another member while they take their evaluation form and give it to a third Toastmaster to provide them with a written evaluation. How did you do as an evaluator of Toastmaster A? Were you too harsh? Or were you a little bit too stringent or rigid within your evaluation, stating that they should have done A, B, C, D, instead of saying, you know, this is interesting. Sammy could have improved, you could have improved this speech if you would have just smiled and said, ladies and gentlemen, I love ice cream. Or ladies and gentlemen, I love going for bike rides. A smile helps a speaker to connect with their audience. And we see it all the time for some of the great orators of our time. The fifth part of this level 1 would be researching and presenting speech, which is take a topic that you would like to learn a little bit more about and add some citations into your speech and reference the things that you wanted to learn about. So it provides you another level of education. And it shows your audience how you present statistics or facts or news references. Once you complete these 5 parts, level 1, level 2, project 1, project 2, project 2A, 2B, 2C, and project 3, you have now completed your icebreaker speech. What we strive for within our club is that each member completes their icebreaker within the first 6 months. Next slide. Now, one of the things I noticed about strategic relationships, the projects in level 2 are not the same across all the paths. They do deviate. So what's in strategic relationships is not necessarily what's in effective coaching or motivational strategies. They do deviate slightly. But Toastmasters wants us to understand our leadership style. I believe when I answered this particular style, it gave me a list of, I'm trying to think, I believe it was 12 to 16 different styles. And after answering 34 questions, it told me I had a democratic leadership style where I like to get the feedback from the people around me, take all the information, and then develop my own ideas, my own concept, or mold an outcome that kind of works best with everyone's feedback. Therefore, before the recording, I don't know if anyone knows, but I wanted to ask a few questions from Mushan and Brian and Sammy so that we could make my presentation better. That's the democratic leadership style. The second item or second project was or is cross-cultural understanding, providing a little bit of information about how to deal with different cultures and being open to be able to say, okay, this is a different culture from mine, but I love it. I love the idea. How can we integrate your culture, Mushan, your culture, Brian, your culture, Sammy, into our single club to make our club better? And then this is the interesting part. If you can make your club better, you can make your company better. You can make your organization better. Mushan, you can make your community better. If challenged with this particular cross-cultural understanding, we can make the world better. And the last item, the last project, is Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. At this time, for some clubs, those who have mentors, it says, tell us about a time that you've been mentored and what did you learn? Or tell us about a time where you mentored someone else and in mentoring that other person, what did you learn by serving as their mentor? Did you learn to be more patient? or were they just frustrating you? So we don't want to raise our hands, but the key is being able to reflect on that. You know what? I didn't get things myself when I was first being mentored. And my mentor, she was very patient with me. She was like, it's okay, David. Let's try again. And it was like me counting the 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. She's like, no, that's not correct. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or A, B, C, D. And with her taking her time with me, I gained understanding. But she also, although it was not written in words, she taught me patience. Patience for working with the mentee. Patience for working with the protege. And that was the conclusion of my level 2. And when I finished, I went on to my level 3. And this part is where it got exciting. Making connections through networking. It challenges us to go to a networking event, and after attending the networking event, give a speech. What did you learn? Did you meet someone interesting? Did you talk to 2 or 3 people, or did you try to talk to 30? Sometimes we learn new information just in meeting the right person. I love this particular project because every time I go to a networking event, I'm learning so much more about people and so much more about myself. I am challenged to do public speaking. I'm challenged even at the new networking event to give an icebreaker. People say, okay, who are you? Tell us about yourself. What do you do? I'm giving an icebreaker over and over again. So I'm gaining practice and I'm becoming better as a public speaker. Then what I like about project number 2 is it's our elective session. In this section right here, I believe 6, 12, 13, there's 13 electives. Now there is one pathway program out there that has 14 electives, but this one has 13 electives. So this is where we find out about ourselves as Toastmasters. It's funny because I don't think anybody in Toastmasters International has really chosen the exact same type of elective because it says something about you. So Mushan, if you like telling stories, then there's a chance that you're going to choose connect with storytelling. And Brian, if you like working with nonprofit organizations and kids who are disabled or let's say, what is it, the Boys and Girls Club, then you may prefer, I want to deliver a social speech and encourage those kids to be able to go to the next level. But one of the things that I think we also like is focus on the positive. If you think about it today, and I challenge everybody, deliver a 1-minute speech or a 2-minute table topic. Focus on the positive. What would you start off saying? In most cases, most of us would think, hey, you know what? This period of COVID has been rough. This period of isolation has been tough. But one of the things I've noticed about myself, I still have a roof over my head. I'm still smiling. I woke up this morning. I can still breathe. The sun is coming up tomorrow, and the sun came up today. Therefore, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Let's be encouraged. Let's continue. Not just thinking about what we had to go through, but looking forward to a brighter tomorrow when the sun comes up again. Focus on the positive. It's amazing because that's one of the perfect electives for this day and time to inspire people, not only in your Toastmasters clubs, but in your community groups, in your fraternities, your sororities, or in your in your own community, and whether it be a church, whether it be a Rotarian group, inspire other people. Practice focusing on the positive so that when we speak, we can encourage other people through our words. So these 13 electives, this is where a mentor, especially within our club, or especially within a few clubs, they would say, I'm mentoring you, yes, but instead of me telling you or encouraging you what to choose, this is your third level in pathways. What elective touches your heart? Are you a graphic designer? Oh, okay. Well, let's go to column number 1, creating effective visual aids. Tell us a time where you designed a room or a house. Show us something that you can do. This is the perfect example. Do you like reading books? Oh, do you like telling stories? What is it that you like to do? What is your best quality? Great. Let's exhibit it here in the electives. Let your Toastmasters Club truly find out who you are and what you can do. The electives, you start to come alive at level 3. Next slide, please. We have now completed level 3 and we've gone to level 4. Don't stop us now. I believe there is one more part for the electives. If you hit the button again, it should come up. But public relations strategies. As we're all leading our organizations, whether it be club president in a club officer role or district role, we're leading our organizations. How do we handle the public, the questions that are coming in from the outside? I actually spoke with a gentleman today who called me before this presentation, and he said, Mr. Davis, I would like to visit your Toastmasters Club. And I'm like, sure, that's no problem. We can make arrangements. We'll send you an invite to our next club meeting. And he said, I don't know if you know this about me, but I have Parkinson's, and I wanted to see if that would be okay for me to come visit your club with me having Parkinson's. And I'm like, that's fine. Toastmasters is an open door. You will receive a mentor. Your mentor will baseline you to find out where you are as a speaker. And your mentor will be able to help you to decide what type of presentations are going to work best for you so that you can shine. That's what it's all about. And he told me, he's like, I am so excited to come into the club. And I'm like, we're excited to have you there. We look forward to seeing you. It was great that he's going to be coming to our club. But more importantly, I believe it was even greater for him how I made him feel. Out of 110 people that we've emailed this year to invite to our club, he was probably one of the 30 that came back and said, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to attending your meeting. Therefore, as we are growing our organizations in regards to public relations strategies, I think certain people who want to become a part of Toastmasters International will start doing things. And when you look at what they do and how they say it, be like, wow, if he gets to level 3 in Toastmasters, in our Toastmasters Pathways program, and he also has the sense of gratitude, this guy is going to make a great Toastmaster in the future. He can even rise to division director, district director, or even region advisor or higher, even with Parkinson's. The second part of level 4 is electives. Choose one. This one is difficult because one member said, I wanted to do all 3. I'm like, well, you could do all 3, but Toastmasters has it set. You only get credit for doing 1. However, think about what you want to do the most, because this is life. I think if we all got in the highway and you had to go 20 miles out to any location. Any location, you were going to a different destination, it's 20 miles away. You get on the highway. Within 1 to 2 miles, you see an exit and it says, get off here for food. You go another 2 miles, you see another exit, says, get off here for 7-Eleven or gas. You go another 2 miles and it says, you can get off here for food again. You go another 2 miles and it says, you can get off here for gas. So you've gone a total of 8 miles and you still haven't reached your destination. Your destination is 20 miles away. But what happens is we as the driver have to make a decision. These are options. Do I need gas? If I don't need gas, then I say, I'm going to keep on driving. If I don't need food, I say, I'm going to keep on driving. Why? Because my goal is 20 miles away and I have more than enough gas to make it. So I don't need to get off at any other extra exits if it's not my time. Therefore, the question is that I would ask my mentee is, what is that one thing that you see on this list that you would like to do? And normally it's interesting because some of them tell me, I always wanted to do a podcast. Great, perfect. But then I had a few members said, you know what, David, at my job, they had me do a 30-minute question and answer session and it was recorded. Can I claim credit for that in my Pathways program? Yes, you can. Let's go into the base camp, upload everything that you did, and then we'll write you in a speech evaluation of how you did with your presentation and your question and answer session. It'll go to the BPE for approval, and then Toastmasters will integrate it into your Pathway program. Those two projects. At this level, the mentee is basically flying solo. They call me every once in a while or text me, David, thank you. Okay. Or David, I'm going to be Toastmaster today. All right, that's fine. Go ahead. Have fun. This should be a great time because now what we're doing is we're encouraging them, take on a new mentee. Because we have a member who just joined last week and they don't know how to use our website, our club website, and they don't know how to navigate through Toastmasters International. And you've gone through level 1, level 2, and level 3. Can you mentor this new person to show them how to even write a speech? And I believe our yes ratio was approximately 7 out of 10 of our members said yes, they can mentor that new person. So I think even with our new members, within the next 6 months, we'll probably have about 17 qualified mentors within our club. And the last slide. Demonstrating expertise, leading in your volunteer organization. Teach us how to lead in our own volunteer organization. And I say our own as if it's yours, Mujan, it's yours, Brian, it's yours, Sammy, it's yours, Valinda, because this is your organization. It's at every level that you go to, taking extreme ownership that, hey, this is my organization. I'm going to give it 100%. I'm going to be the best I can. This is program quality director, Miss Valinda. I'm giving 100%. I'm going to give all of me to be the best I can in my role right now. I don't have to worry about being the best of who I am in somebody else's role. I'm going to be the best I can in my role, leading in your volunteer organization. All of us can do it. But now share a story about how do you do it? How do you be you when everybody's saying, well, you can do it better if you be someone else. But how do you be you? Be the best you in your own organization. Nobody has the gifts that you have, Mujan, because you were created so uniquely. So be you. Let your talents shine through so that you can continue inspiring your mentees and the proteges who are watching you, and they can learn from you and become the best them. And then the second item was reflect on your path. path. Now, the structure here is the way you might see it in Toastmasters International. However, reflecting your path can actually be the sixth and final step. But believe it or not, I put it here because this is the way it is displayed on Toastmasters International website. But reflecting your path is talk about everything that's happened from level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and level 5. It's a 10 to 12-minute speech to talk about how you've grown. And it's really designed to inspire those who have just come into the club and only completed level 1, or they haven't completed anything yet. And they want to know what awaits me within this pathway program. The other part, level 2, project 2, electives. Choose one of the following. For me, I believe I chose a high performance leadership project. But for others, lessons learned. Lessons learned. So Brian, I don't know what you did last year, but what lessons learned do you have that you can take into your new role as club growth director for the 2021-2022 year that can help everyone in your district, that can inspire all the people in your district, that can challenge them to grow? What lessons learned, Mujan, have you received because the people in your club elected you president? Which means they say, I submit myself to you and I trust you enough to allow you to lead me. And that's a great place to be in because they trust you as a leader. So they say, I give you permission to lead me. And the same is true of you, Belinda. The people have a level of trust in you, so they voted for you because they believe that you can lead them through level 1, through level 2, through level 3, through level 4, through the level 5, not necessarily of pathways, but through life in Toastmasters International District 30 over the next 12 months. They trust you. So well done. Once you completed level 5 and these 3 projects, or the 2 projects and that 1 elective, then you're ready to take flight and go to the next level. Therefore, I encourage everyone, if you don't know how to get started in pathways, reach out to your District 30 leaders, your club growth director, your program quality director, and your district director, and ask them the one question: how can I get started or learn more about pathways? And I guarantee you, they will not let you down and you won't be disappointed. So that is my presentation for this evening. And back to you, Program Quality Director, Belinda Foltz.
Thank you so much for your presentation. That was awesome. We do have some questions, and I'm going to have Brian ask those questions for you.
Sure. Oh, yeah, so I see one here. It's saying, should we encourage the members to do more than 1 elective, or should we just suggest they do that to save time on the other projects that are only required for the Pathways program?
Can you read that question one more time? Because I can answer you 2 ways, and I want to make sure I provide you with the right answer.
Okay, it says, should we encourage the members to do more than 1 elective, or should we just suggest that they should just save time on the other projects that are required for the Pathways program?
So I think that's a great question. And I believe my example of driving 20 miles and seeing the gasoline station, seeing the electives along the way. How about this story? There was a young man, he bumps into this professor, and the professor said, hey, I had you about 7 years ago. He's like, how are you doing? He's like, I'm doing great. And he said, oh, so you graduated? He's like, no. He's like, so what year are you in? He's like, I'm in my second year. He's like, it's been 7 years. He's like, yes, it's been 7 years. He's like, so what's your major? He's like, it's still engineering. He's like, so how many credits have you taken? He's like, well, I've taken credits in accounting and I've taken credits in communications, and I have over 250 credits. And the professor looks at the young man. He's like, but you only need 166 to graduate with an engineering degree. And the young man responds, yeah, but I saw other things I wanted to take, and I just started taking them. The professor looked at him and said, okay. Which means there's certain things that are going to be available to you, but stay on the path. Toastmasters recommends doing one. Why? Because some of the electives, you're going to see them in the other paths, and you're going to have a chance to do them in the other paths. Many of the electives will show up in 7 or 8 different paths, which is why when we go to our speech evaluations, there's 60 speech evaluations, but it covers all 11 pathways programs. Therefore, my recommendation is go with Toastmasters' recommendation above. So if it says choose one path, let that be that one path, that one elective project that is close to your heart, that makes your blood pump, that gets you excited when you just say the word, oh, leading in a nonprofit organization. That's the elective that you should choose. Choose one elective. If it gives you the option to choose 2, choose 2, but choose the 2 that you love the most. That will be my response.
Thank you. It's my question.
Oh, okay. Look at that. All right.
And I don't know if there's anything that was also strictly a question in here.
I have another question. Oh, okay. Sammy.
Oh, here's one. Sammy has one put in right now. That says, what can you say if people feel that there is a lot of repetition between pathways, like strategic relationships and coaching, and can you repeat speeches?
Yes, you can. Okay, so she has a lot of information within that question. Okay, so therefore, can you read the question one more time, because I'm gonna break it apart?
Yes. So what can you say if people feel that there is a lot of repetition between pathways, like strategic relationships and coaching, and can you repeat speeches?
So second part, can you repeat speeches? Absolutely yes. But this is where your mentor comes into play. Your mentor, I was actually watching, as an example, of the football Columbine, and they were timing players as they were running. And one player ran a slower time, and you can hear the commentators, he normally runs this particular pace of the track within like 5.2 seconds. Today, he's at 7.8 seconds. He must be sick, or he must be hurt or something. Why? Because they were been timing him over the course of the last 4 years in college. They knew what his times were. So they knew where he should fall for the day to qualify to get into the NFL. So now let's shift it over into Toastmasters International to her question. A mentor would say, yes, you can give that speech again, but if you do it, I'm challenging you to go further than what you did on the last speech. So if you didn't have a PowerPoint presentation, I'm challenging you to have a PowerPoint presentation. If you didn't have any other demonstratives, then I would like to see some demonstratives in your PowerPoint presentation. If you were sitting down, that same speech, yes, you think you're getting away, you're not getting away, but that same speech, I would like you to do something more, because I'm trying to stretch you to grow. So you can take the same speech and present it 10 times, but I guarantee you, as you start growing, you become inspired. Therefore, you grow. You'll never present the same speech twice, or 3 times the exact same way, because as we grow, we evolve and we become better and we become more powerful in our presentations. Therefore, sure, she could present that same speech again and again and again. However, good evaluators, good mentors will challenge you to push beyond the norm, go further, make the speech better. If that's the only speech you know how to write, then great. We're going to challenge you to keep making that speech better. Take it to a level 2, take it to a level 3, level 4, level 5. Let's run with it. Create a video, put some music on it. But we're not going to allow you to stay the same. We're going to challenge you to go to that next level. Back to you.
Thank you. And here's another good question. I see here, it says, so similar question. Since an icebreaker speech is required for each new pathway, should we use the same speech content for every icebreaker speech for every new pathway program?
So I've been asked that question the same way. And one of the things I told the mentee was, sure, you can try to answer the same way and give the same icebreaker speech. However, how many times have you given the same icebreaker speech to someone that you just encountered, who you worked with in the past, versus someone who's a family member from your past and you haven't seen in 5 years? Do you give them the same icebreaker speech? Or do you say, hey, cousin, I have not seen you in 5 years. It's been great to see you. How's Aunt Cheryl? How's Uncle Ted? Oh, they're doing well. That's great to hear. You know, I'm over here working in over here by Chicago now, and you should give me a call and stop by the house sometime. That's an icebreaker speech. Versus a colleague, hey, Tom, hey, I heard you moved to California. Oh, man, that's wonderful. It's beautiful. How's the weather out there? Okay, are you still doing surfing? Okay, are you still into the internet things and creating crazy items on your computer? All right. It's difficult to give the same icebreaker speech because sometimes you have a different audience and you have to update for the audience that you're speaking to. So Toastmasters is not really worried about people giving the same icebreaker speech because they know that you've evolved since the last speech that you have. And once you've gotten to level 5, you've evolved so much that every time you go into a new path, your icebreaker speech is going to change because you're going to now look into your audience and see that your audience demographics, not only for your club, but potentially the members within your district has changed. So now you're going to do your icebreaker slightly different because you want to connect with your audience. So my recommendation, if they say, I would like to do the same icebreaker, sure, go ahead, give it a try. But now, are you really reading your audience correctly? And if so, make sure you give the right icebreaker to them. Tell your audience what they need to hear because the audience needs something from you just as much as you need something from them. And that would be my answer.
So I actually have a question now. So I know you went through a lot of the different, projects and electives and everything that were on more of the 3, 4, and 5 levels. What was your favorite project that you did when you were going through strategic relationships, and what was the most important thing you learned from that project?
My project, connect with storytelling. People ask me why, but it was connect with storytelling. And I wish I have an image, but a part of my job was, and most people don't know this about me, but I worked on a horse farm for approximately 8 years. And the horses would come from the racetrack, and part of my job was to ride approximately 6 to 8 horses a week and spend an hour with that particular horse. And then eventually we would get into jumping fences. But one day, in helping to get something heavy into the field where the horses were grazing, my trainer said, David, go move that 3,000 pound a block and take it into the field. And so I said, okay, this is my perfect opportunity to shine. I'm going to jump in this, what they call a backhoe John Deere piece of construction equipment. And when my trainer saw me chain it up, he said, no problem, Dave, it's okay. But then he saw me try to lift the 3,000 pound block. And he said, stop, waving his hand, stop. And then he jumped in the cab and stood behind the seat. He's like, you're about to tip over. And I didn't understand what he meant, but he says, this is the problem. The issue is not the tractor. This tractor can lift 10,000 pounds. But here's the problem. When you tried to lift the 3,000 pounds, you forgot to put the stabilizers down on the construction equipment. So now something that can lift 10,000 pounds is no longer able to lift 10,000 pounds because it has wheels on it. And when you lift it, you're unstable and there's a good chance you're going to flip over. And then he told me he broke his ribs when the tractor flipped over on him. So he did not want the same thing to happen to me. Therefore, he showed me how to move the levers to put the stabilizers all the way down, to lift the wheels off the ground so I can lift the 3,000 pound block. And he said, remember, you can go further than this. This is only 3,000 pounds. This tractor can lift a Ford Expedition. This tractor can lift a Cadillac Escalade that's weighing 6,000 to 7,000 pounds. This tractor has the capacity, but David, you have to have the know-how to put the stabilizers down so that you can do it, to be able to lift the heavy things in life. And that's one of the things that I've taken from him since it's been over 20 years. But we can lift a lot of things, but we have to be able to be stabilized in whatever we're encountering. And that's where great mentors come into our lives to tell us, hey, put the stabilizers down. Don't try to do other things while you're trying to do this. This is really heavy. So put the stabilizers down, lift it, and then bring the stabilizers up if you want to move forward or move backward, utilizing the wheels on the backhoe construction equipment. So that would be my response, is that yes, you can do it. I mean, go for it. But remember, find your stabilizing point where you say, I'm not going to do anything else until I get this heavy thing off the ground. Then I'm ready to go for it.
Perfect. Thank you. And then do we have any other questions? Well, it doesn't look like we have any other. So I want to thank you for your presentation today. I thought we had a lot of great questions in the presentation. I really liked the energy and positivity you had going through the path. Everyone I feel is engaged. I know I definitely was. So I want to thank you for this presentation and thank you for coming and helping out District 30 tonight.